expect a standing ovation, even you in the wheelchair. All right. Good evening, everyone. So Stacey Abrams went on Jimmy Kimmel and outlined 10 steps that Trump will take to cancel the next election. Yes, 10 steps, which is 7 more than she can take without needing an oxygen mask. Or a hot dog. According to a new book, while in the White House, Joe Biden always encouraged her husband to eat vegetables. But wouldn't that make him a cannibal? Oh, my God. Thanks to a temporary increase in the Earth's rotation, today was the shortest day in history. To make it feel longer, watch Fox News at 8. Don't question the logic. Whoopi Goldberg told the View audience that, quote, sometimes this gig can feel like hell. We still aren't sure whether she was speaking for her co-hosts or their chairs. Wow. Usually those jokes hit really hard, but okay. According to a new poll, more and more kids are being named after mass murderers. True, there's been a surge in names such as Ted, Jeffrey, and, of course, Hillary. Gary Coleman's ex-wife failed a lie detector test, leaving many to believe she was involved in his death. I know. I bet right now Gary is turning over in his shoebox. If she goes to trial, it'll be at small claims court. Although she still claims he died from having a different stroke. All right. He would have laughed. The TSA is no longer requiring you to take off your shoes during security checks, which started because of the shoe bomber in 2001, causing one man to ask, why couldn't there have been a panty bomber? These are good questions. And finally, a Ronald McDonald statue was stolen from a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. Turns out the thief thought they were kidnapping Kathy Griffin. I know. Not good. Okay. Enough of that. So Team Trump is firing on all cylinders. He's coupling unfiltered transparency with relentless action, which in D.C. is as rare as a disease-free hooker. And it doesn't hurt that the Supreme Court gave the go-ahead for Trump's plan to make some much-needed government cuts. Because if there's any place that has extra fat to cut, it's Washington. And this White House isn't just cleaning house, it's taking out the trash. And I'm not just talking about the furniture Joe Biden soiled. Starting with criminal investigations of former CIA Director John Brennan and former CIA Director James Comey. You know, the ones that pushed the fake Russian collusion story so they could drag Hillary into the White House by her cankles. So transparency is winning out while sordid schemes get exposed. And it's all happening while Trump lets the cameras roll. He just held his 6th cabinet meeting. It lasted 1 hour and 45 minutes. That's longer than all 9 of Biden's public cabinet meetings combined, which clocked in at a grand total of 58 minutes, which coincidentally is how long it takes Joe to open a beach chair. But like Leo DiCaprio at a sorority mixer, Trump hit on just about everything. For example, is there no amnesty for illegals?
There's no amnesty. What we're doing is we're getting rid of criminals, but we are doing a work program. We want to give the farmers the people they need, but we're not talking amnesty.
He also called out that commie Zoran. Did Trump used to say we will not ever be a socialist country?
I used to say we will not ever be a socialist country, right? Well, I'll say it again. We're not going to have... If a communist gets elected to run New York, it can never be the same, but we have tremendous power at the White House to run places when we have to. We're going to do something for New York. I can't tell you what yet, but we're going to make New York great again.
You know, maybe Trump should run for New York mayor when he's done with the whole president thing. Seriously. After all, it's time we replace Central Park with an enormous casino. He also brought up Operation Midnight Hammer, which sounds like the name of the cologne I wore when I used to date Delta Burke. But did those machines fly for 37 straight hours?
Those machines flew for 37 straight hours. They didn't stop. They went skedaddle. You know the word skedaddle? It means skedaddle. They dropped the bombs, and somebody said, skedaddle. Let's get the hell out of here.
Skedaddle. It's not a word you hear very often in military context, unless you're French. And let's not forget the decor. But I wonder, does Trump love the frame of those pictures?
I love the frame of those pictures. Look at those frames. You know, I'm a frame person. Sometimes I like frames more than I like the pictures.
It's true, especially if they're pictures of Bigfoot. But if sunlight is the best disinfectant, boy, did it go dark when you bring up Jeffrey Epstein.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Now, when was the last time Trump declined to answer anything? Seems like he really didn't want to talk about it. Look, I get it. There's national security issues, maybe even classified details. But why does this piss us off? It's time for
Greg's amazing and utterly helpful and no less sexy analogy. Now with 65% less body hair. Oh, yeah.
Now imagine as a kid for Christmas, you asked for a beautiful red Schwinn Stingray with a banana seat. Christmas morning, you unwrap it and the bike is everything you wanted. But it's not red, it's yellow. And so you cry and your parents plead, look, we did everything we could. Your dad worked extra hours at the factory. Your mom turned tricks at the wharf. And Granny, she became a drug mule for the Yakuza. And yes, we were able to get that last bike at the toy store, but this was the only color. Well, that's the Trump presidency. You're gonna get just about everything you want, but not everything. But what's amazing about this White House is that everything is transparent, including even their cover-ups. It's so obvious that there's more to this than they're letting on, but they're letting us know that by doing a lousy job of covering it up. I mean, remember Bongina Patel in this clip?
As a public defender, as a prosecutor who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Even Stevie Wonder wouldn't buy that body language. Maybe their robotic dismissal is one collective wink. But still, it might help to present the case to your voters, because if you don't tell us what's going on, we'll just imagine something worse. That's why I'm encouraging Trace Gallagher to release his sex tape. Because what's worse than total transparency? Thinking that your guy might be involved, which is why you can't leave Epstein Island shrouded in fog. Look, we're grateful for everything mentioned in that very long cabinet meeting, but until we feel like we've gotten the answer on Epstein, no cabinet meeting will be long enough. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He once had a threesome with Cagney and Lacey. Fox News contributor Paul Morrow. As a Columbia grad, she knows how to dodge a Molotov cocktail. Staff writer for the Free Press, Olivia Reingold. He just flew in from Alaska, and boy, are his jokes tired. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissow. And in a strange turn of events, her baby burps her. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Cap Tip. All right. Paul, you've been in law enforcement for decades, and I understand being disappointed in this stuff, but I feel like they're telling us that there's more there, but we don't want to know about it. My guess is this is an intel honeypot that involved other countries and our CIA, and the more that we know about it, the uglier it is.
Well, all right. Let's say one thing. First of all, relative to transparency, you got to give Trump credit because I know where this, more than I know where my wife is. I know at any point in any day where Donald Trump is.
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable. It's like there's an app, literally, that you can follow the guy. I mean, can you might as well put an Apple tag on him. So here's a guy who is really being forthright.
Yeah.
And he's making the effort. So you got to give him that. Now, I had to predicate it with that. Look, if you take as a given the idea that Epstein was a source, all right, he's some sort of an asset, which, look, you know, everybody knows the story the first time around when he got collared in Florida.
Yeah.
The prosecutor said it's above my pay grade. It's in the intel world. I got to step off. That's why he got the sweetheart deal. Think about what I always did in intelligence circumstances is that I put myself in the adversary's position. And you have to say to yourself, if you are Bongino, Patel, Trump, right? And by the way, this is not Bongino and Patel. They work, people forget this, they work for Bondi. Their stuff goes to Bondi. She's the decision maker here, so we got to remember that. But that said, if you're sitting on stuff that you got from him and you get in there and you open up the books, now you're behind the curtain, you got the clearance, and you say, oh, look at this, right? If you give it to the public, it's no longer valuable. So my assumption here, and I'm going to get destroyed for this. I know how the internet is. Number one, I'm telling you, I know enough about corrections. He killed himself. This idea that an entire...
But they let him kill himself.
I don't even give it that. When the idea that somehow or other an entire shift in federal corrections colluded to stage a suicide, you are vastly overrating what happens in the civil service system, all right? Let me just tell you. It didn't go that way.
Yeah.
But that said, that's a red herring. That's not what we should be focusing on. We should be focusing on the investigation into him. What is it we're not being told about the tapes, what they found at the search warrants, and all of that crap. And what it really comes down to is what I think is, at the end of the day, I trust Bongino, I trust Patel, I trust Trump. And I got to say, Bondi got a little bit out over her skis a little bit.
A little bit?
But that said, she handed out those
I'm sorry,
binders and all of
officer,
that. But that said, listen, I'm not defending the way she handled it. But that said, put yourself in their position. You get in there and you open it up. You say, this is a gold mine. You're going to give that to the media? So I am choosing, and it's a choice.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to trust them.
All right, Kat, your head's about to explode, and that's going to ruin Jamie's shirt.
Yeah.
It's the only one he owns.
I think that to expect anybody to just go, all right, cool, makes sense to me is gaslighting, especially Pam Bondi. This is entirely her fault, too. It's not like people are running around thinking there's something here for no reason. It's because you said it.
Yeah.
She said, I have the client list on my desk. And then you're just never going to say anything again? You said that. So what was it? Like, what was it? Did you look at it again and realize it was a list of lists that you don't have? Or a grocery list? Or Angie's list? Or Craig's list? What list? I think you have to say something. You can't just come out that hard and then be like, just get it. Like, she didn't even say just kidding. She didn't explain it at all.
That's
she
why
said nothing.
I think that their defense was so feeble that they wanted you to know that it was a cover-up. That's my theory to it. Like, it's like, we know something is there.
That's not good enough when you go that hard.
Yes. I have a lot of faith, by the way, Paul.
She shouldn't have said all that if she didn't want to have to answer for it, but she did.
Yeah, it's a good point. All right, Olivia, welcome to the show, first time. Do you think that... Oh. That's just weird. What if she sucks? Then I gotta pretend like she's good because you applauded her. Oh, so anyway, Paul says something that's kind of true. It's like, what if they were talking about we wanted to see it, but they didn't know what was in it, and then they see what's in it, and they go, holy crap, we can't show this.
Well, the deleted minute is very strange, and her explanation, I mean, I have a faint understanding of VHS tapes, but, like, I don't understand how that happens.
So the missing minute happens at the end of every tape. They say that happens all the time.
Like once a day or something.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't quite make sense to me. I mean, she says that there obviously is child pornography on there. To me, a big question I have is, what if the scandal is just pedophilia? I mean, who says it has to be more than that? That in and of itself is atrocious.
Yes.
Who says that obviously people are raising a lot of questions about Israel and, was he working for Mossad or something like that? I have not seen anything that would make me think that. To me, it's possible that the scandal is just right out there in the open, and it is what it is. And perhaps he killed himself because, wow, it does sound really stressful and shameful to be in the situation he was in.
Yeah, it's just straight up pedophilia. That's enough to kill yourself. You don't need this other world of intrigue to make it as bad as it is. But, Jamie, I'm so glad you haven't killed yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Because God knows you have many reasons.
I've always had terrible aim.
Yeah. But it is, I mean, what if, pedophile ring that was used as a honeypot, and we find out that our CIA was involved, that would make us sick to our stomach, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. What if, maybe there's a simple explanation for all this, what if that 1 minute missing from the gel tape, what if they murdered him during it? Do you know what I mean? Because you get in a lot of trouble if you murder someone and it's on video.
That is implausible.
Wow. You know what I mean? And then I'm wondering, if we find this manifest, is it going to even be, is it going to even be people's real names? Like, if I'm on that jet, I'm not going to give my wrist. It's probably going to be a whole list like, oh, we're looking for huge ass. Was on his way to the bend over, went over 6 times, and then.
And Bill Clinton.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah. Why not? No one's going to arrest me.
I'm above the law. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it was stupid to think there was a client list to begin with, because what criminal keeps a client list?
Yeah.
But there's enough. There were stacks of information there that.
Again, you didn't say there was a client list. I didn't say that. Pam Bondi said there was one on her desk.
Yeah.
Well, no, she said the file was on her desk. Look, this is the thing. If you really want to drill down on it, they got all that stuff from the search warrants. Everybody knows they got in there. They got all those tapes. All those houses were wired up, right? So if you really want to find out what was there, see, everybody gets lost in the confusion. Everybody's yelling. If you want to put a very fine point on it to find out a little bit more, at least say, what's the search warrant return? Because when you do a search warrant, there's a document. It says, this is what we got, Judge. Here you go. Well, they did at least 3 or 4 search warrants, right? The house in New York City, the house in Florida, the house in the Bahamas, whatever hell it was, the island. They got to write it down. And so if you look at the search warrant, 60 tapes featuring bold-faced Hollywood names.
Yes.
Well, there you go. So nobody has come out with that, and that's what I'd actually like to see if we really want to drill in.
We'll be continuing this whole hour on this topic. I'm kidding. Or am I?
Oh, my God.
Jamie, I love you.
Whoa.
Everything was a lie.
Can we?
All right.
Can we please delete the last minute of this tape?
Up next, Ilhan's daughter takes desperate measures. That was good.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.